You're listening to the Lifestyle Business Show with Lucy Gordon, the podcast of building a more profitable business that gives you the lifestyle and freedom you desire. I share strategies to streamline your business, increase your income, and reclaim your time so that you can spend more time doing what you love. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Lifestyle Business Show. Once again, we have a heat wave and it is very, very hot, so I'm armed with plenty of water. And then I'm going to look forward to going and sitting in the garden after I've recorded this episode. So the astute amongst you might have noticed that I didn't release a podcast episode last week. When I started doing this podcast, I had the absolute intention to do one every single week. And once I started doing that and released a couple of them, I realised actually that's a lot of work. So last week, rather than putting myself under the pressure to record one and get it uploaded and sent out to everyone, I decided to give myself a break. And I wanted to sort of share this as a lesson with you all, to say that it's absolutely okay to take a break. You don't have to deliver everything all of the time absolutely perfectly. It's okay to take a step back and prioritise something which is more important. So for example, last week, I'd been on holiday the week before, which was absolutely lovely, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But then I came back and I was doing a launch in my other business. And so my priority for those first 2 days when I was back from holiday was that. So I was hosting a masterclass and I had finessing of that presentation to do and a couple of other launch related things and tech related things that I needed to deal with. And that was way more of a priority, sorting that stuff out than creating and rushing a podcast episode. So I apologise for those of you who are sitting on the edge of your seat waiting for an episode last week, but just want to be really honest. I probably won't be releasing an episode every single week going forward. I will do my best to do so, but there will be times when I just need to take a break because I've got other things on, or because the way that I'm setting up my business now and the way that I'm working with my clients now is that I have the freedom and time to do other things. So whilst it's my absolute top intention, it might not always happen. So I apologise in advance for those of you who are waiting for a little dose of Lucy every week. So having come back from holiday and had that break on the podcast, but also having that proper break while I was on holiday, I wanted to talk about some ways in which I've managed to change my business and change the way that I work to be able to create that time when I'm away where I actually don't have to work at all. As a business owner, as a very passionate employee, we often want to work or be seen working. I remember years ago, actually, I was on holiday with a friend of mine, and I think about it a lot, and I really regret doing this, that we went on holiday to the Shetland Islands, and for that whole week, I worked, basically. I was working for a real estate fund. My boss had said to me that I was going to be taking over a deal in the analyst role because the other analyst who was previously on that deal had gone on a holiday and hadn't worked while they were on holiday, hadn't done any of the deal, had just passed it on to someone else while they were on holiday. What that meant was that when I went on holiday a couple of weeks later, I felt pressure to work on this deal and get it over the line. And I really love that deal that I worked on. I really am grateful for that opportunity because it was something very different to what we usually looked at that company. But every time I see that friend, I absolutely regret the fact that I wasn't properly present during that holiday. And I feel that even more so now that I have specifically changed the way my business works to be able to give me that time off. So that's why I want to talk to you today about ways to really have proper boundaries in place so you're not looking at your work or doing any work while you're on holiday. And I know that it's not always possible. Sometimes emergency things might crop up that you have to go and look at. But in an ideal world, we need to be setting up our businesses in such a way that we can step away from them for a week, for 2 weeks. I'm not saying you have to step away from them for 52 weeks. I'm saying that you should be able to go on holiday for a week or two and not have to constantly be checking your emails, checking your phone, logging into your laptop, whatever it is. So the first thing you should absolutely do is set an out of office. But specifically, set an out of office in advance of when you go on holiday. I used to always set my out of office, and I think we get into this habit because it's sort of very satisfying to set your out of office at the very last minute. There's something very final about, packing away your things and at 5 p.m. on Friday, setting your out of office. And then you leave your work and you're like, brilliant, my out of office is set, I'm officially on holiday. But the problem with that is that nobody knows you're on holiday until you've gone on holiday. So it's all well and good that you've set your out of office, but if something crops up that they need a response, they're not going to know until they send you an email on Monday morning that you've gone off on holiday for a week. So what I recommend you do is actually set your out of office earlier, saying either advance notice, I'll be on holiday for these dates, or give yourself a day or two either side of your holiday where your out of office is still set. Because in reality, you don't want to be receiving new bits of work on Friday that you need to try and complete in a day. You want to be focusing on finishing the things that you need to do before you go on holiday. So that's top tip number 1. Always set your out of office in advance of when you're actually going on holiday. And give yourself a day, 2 days, either side, as time for you to do the work that you need to do, rather than responding and being in that reactive mode that I talk about quite a lot when it comes to emails. I've seen other people who put it as a footnote in their emails saying advance notice, I'm going on holiday. So you can do that if you don't want to set a proper out of office responder, or you just have your out of office responder on all the time. And actually my one currently says the days of the week that I work, and it also says advance notice, I'll be away in these dates in July, these dates in August, etc. So then it's really clear that I'm going to be away on those dates, and people can therefore know not to expect a response from me. So the next tip is to turn off your notifications on your phone. If you're still someone who's going to keep checking your phone anyway, then you could always delete the work apps off your phone. Or if you've got a separate work phone, then just leave it in your room. Don't take it out with you, just leave it. Because as soon as you hear that notification ping or see it on your phone or whatever, you have this tendency to want to check it, because we all hate, although there are some people who happily sit there with 1,000 notifications, but most of us have to read those things. We can't just leave those notifications sitting there. So if you're getting those notifications being bombarded at you, again, you're going to want to be checking them. So turn off the notifications, leave the phone in your room, whatever it is that you need to do, so that you're not tempted to look at it. If it's genuinely an emergency, then they definitely need your input, then they will phone you. They might even try and phone your personal number, whoever it is. So you don't need to check your work phone all the time. You don't need to check your emails. You don't need to check your Teams messages, because if there's an actual emergency where they genuinely need your input right this very second, they will find another way to contact you. The next thing is to do a proper handover or proper notes, or not leave anything hanging basically while you're away. So if you're working for another company and you have deals or projects that are ongoing, or clients that you're working with and they need work to continue while you're away, then do proper handover notes. And actually, if you have those notes available all the time, then all you need to do is just send a little update to make sure they are up to date for whoever's taking over things. If they don't need the work done while you're away, then just let your client know that you're not going to be there, but you'll address the issue, you address the next bit of the project, whatever it is, as soon as you're back. And actually, one way that I used to solve this in my other business was that I would use the time when I was on holiday as time for the client to be reviewing the work that I sent them. So effectively, I would send them the financial model that I'd built on Friday. They would have a week to review it, and then I would be able to answer any questions and make any updates and have a call with them once I was back from holiday, because I'd done my side of the work and it was over to the client to do their side. The final sort of tip, and it's not really a tip per se, but final thing I want to say on this taking a break and going on holiday is thinking about why you are going on holiday. You're going on holiday to take a break from work, to give yourself time to refresh and catch up on sleep and relax and de-stress. So taking your work with you only leads to you working. It doesn't allow you to properly shut off and properly de-stress. As a business owner, it is really difficult, particularly if you're the only person in the company, to shut off, because you feel like you might lose clients, you might upset clients, you might not get that project, not get that contract, whatever it is, because you're not there to immediately respond to an email or answer the phone or whatever. But your client doesn't want to be disturbed on holiday, probably, so they should respect you enough to not disturb you on holiday either. So I really want you to think about that if you're taking a break or going on holiday. You don't need to be looking at your phone all the time. You don't need to be working. It is okay for you to step away. Other people do it. The business survives while you sleep. The business survives over weekends. It can survive while you're on holiday. So I really want you to try and think about that and remember that next time you go away. Particularly now we're at the summer holidays, it is really important that you take that time while you're away with your family, while you're enjoying the lovely heat waves that we're experiencing, to actually be able to shut off. If you want some more time-saving tips to help you become more efficient in your work, then you can download my free guide, which is at lucygordon.com/time. And there are 25 tips in there as to how you can become more efficient and save time in your business. And that will be really helpful for you to follow over the summer if you want to actually start enjoying the summer more. So please do go ahead and download that. In the meantime, I'm going to love you and leave you there. I've got lots of great guests lined up that I can't wait to share their episodes with you. And I would really appreciate if you could like and subscribe to the podcast. And if there are any topics that you might want me to cover, then please feel free to get in touch with me on LinkedIn. I am Lucy Gordon. Have a wonderful sunny week, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for listening to the Lifestyle Business Show with Lucy Gordon. If you're ready to spend less time in your business, head to lucygordon.com/time to download your free guide.